Hi all, welcome to the webinar. We'll just wait a couple of minutes or so while people join before we get started. Hello, thank you for joining for today's webinar, our fourth launch within our Aptem Enhance initiative, where we'll cover our upcoming review summarisation feature. Before we get started, I just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of housekeeping items. So first of all, we will be recording this session. Everyone who's registered will receive a copy of the recording by email. So please feel free to share this with your colleagues. You will be muted throughout the webinar, so if you need assistance, please use the chat functionality in the available panel. You can also ask questions in the questions section of that panel. We'll get to as many of these as we can at the end of the webinar in our Q&A sections, and any we don't get to, we'll follow up with individually after the webinar. In today's webinar, it's delivered by myself, Paige. I'm the product operations lead here at Aptem. We have Freya, one of our product owners, also on the product team here. And we also have kindly been joined by Emily, who is the head of MIS at BMS Progress. Within today's webinar, we'll be recapping Aptem Enhance, including our vision and the already live features available for use today within our enterprise packaging tier, before we explore BMS Progress experience on early adopter and beta trials, including the impact that they've had on their business coaches and learners so far. We'll then move into today's product launch portion of the webinar, whereby we'll be introducing review summarization, including feature exploration to showcase our vision for this feature. At the end of the session, we'll open the floor for questions from the audience, as I mentioned, so please add these as we go through the webinar today. We'll also share how you can get your hands on these features through our upcoming beta trials that we'll be running over the next couple of months. Just as a reminder, this information intends to convey our general product direction, and this may be subject to change. Specific functionality that we're sharing today is not a commitment to deliver, but shows our intention and vision, and this also applies to the timelines that we present, which are indicative and subject to change as we learn more and gain valuable feedback from yourselves working in partnerships with our customers. As an introduction to today's webinar, Aptem Enhance is part of our Aptem Apprentice product, and it sits within our enterprise packaging tier. It's a set of features that have been created to help automate apprenticeship admin and elevate that human impact. We're working towards a future whereby technology aids and supports human experience. It enriches the learner experiences and supports optimal provider operations. We've already delivered iterations of Checkpoint, the Virtual Assistant, Marking Aid, and Feedback Assistant as part of this initiative. Checkpoint is our objective measure of learner progress through multiple choice questions based on knowledge, skills, and behaviours of the learner's apprenticeship standard. And this helps to improve the confidence of learners whilst providing a clear insight into progress and where further coaching may be needed from tutors. Applied Care Speed extends that functionality to incorporate scenario-based questions to give a greater understanding of learners' ability to apply their learning to on-the-job experiences and situations that they may face within their working environments. The Learner Virtual Assistant is also available for use and is designed to provide that 24/7 support and guidance. It also allows for personalised conversations between the learner and the assistant to help answer questions and present guidance to the learners on their standards when they're not with their tutors. So that helps ensure barriers to progressing are removed and the tutor's time is not taken up with answering those same repetitive questions across their caseloads. Recently, we've released the ability to combine these features, whereby learners can now use the virtual assistant to support them after they've completed checkpoint questions. So once a checkpoint is completed, the learner can choose to get help with this question on both incorrectly and correctly answered questions. And that opens up the assistant with a predefined question to prompt the assistant with the correct context and information to help reinforce the learner's knowledge and highlight potential gaps in understanding, to allow them to take those next steps without waiting for that next meeting with their tutors. So a really great way of combining two features to gain that valuable multiplication for the learners. We're also in a very exciting early adopter phase for our marking aid and feedback assistant features. So we launched these at the end of last year and have since been working alongside 5 of our customers to gain feedback and help us shape the next iterations of their development. So these features currently allow them to efficiently house information about the learner exercises within Aptem, enabling learners and tutors to easily access this via their learning plans. A streamlined process that really encourages clarity of expectations and standardised assessment criteria for that consistent, fair and efficient feedback, as tutors are also able to provide a richer, more contextualised feedback through inline comments, which is supported by AI-generated suggestions, as well as the ability to utilise marking rubrics. This enhances the quality of feedback provided to learners, driving improved learner outcomes. We're excited to announce that we're looking for customers to trial our next iteration of Marking Aid and Feedback Assistant, which will begin in the next few months. So functionality will be improved to include AI-powered suggestions aligned with the KSB criteria, and the ability to predefine feedback banks for common quality-approved suggestions, as well as improvements based on any feedback we gain from our early adopters customers. We'll share with you how you can get involved in this beta trial at the end of the webinar. Aptem Enhance features take care of that high-effort administrative tasks and really help providers kind of cut through that noise and allow focus on increasing quality of delivery, so elevating individual learners' experiences and leading to those higher outcomes and achievements. We've been very grateful to have partnered with a number of customers over the last year and 4 launches of Aptem Enhance features, and to have gained such great feedback, ensuring that we're delivering that real value and impact to our customers. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Emily to take you through BMS Progress experience. So over to you, Emily.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about our personal experiences with Aptem. So I'd like to first talk about who BMS Progress are. BMS Progress have been delivering commercially funded training for over 25 years, and we made the leap into the world of apprenticeships in 2019. We take immense pride in our apprenticeship programmes, which are designed to align with industry demands, empower learners and ensure that businesses have access to a highly skilled workforce. We are a niche provider focusing on standards in sales, management and leadership, coaching and customer service, and we believe that that's what sets us apart and enables us to be expert in these areas. We work across both public and private sector with global businesses such as Salesforce, to SMEs and non-levy businesses. A little bit about my role. I am the head of MIS Funding and Compliance, and my role is to ensure that our apprenticeship programmes and processes run smoothly, are financially sustainable and remain compliant with government regulations. The success of our apprenticeships relies not only on excellent training and coaching, but also the robust systems that underpin them. We partnered with Aptem 6 years ago ahead of enrolling our first learners, and I quickly became heavily involved in the use of Aptem and its development within our business. I had more meetings with our implementation consultant than my own team, and learning as much as I possibly could so that I was able to guide and support the wider business. Looking ahead, as a privately owned and still relatively young provider, our goal is to build on our achievements and drive further innovation in our apprenticeship offerings. We aim to enhance our digital systems for greater efficiency, expand our employer network, and ensure that our apprentices receive the best possible support throughout their learning journey. We have always been early adopters of technology, using AI across the business for other provisions, and it was so exciting when Aptem announced the release of the enhanced features, because I knew that each one of them would really benefit our coaching team and learners. We're always looking for operational efficiencies as well as cost-saving initiatives, and I believe that Aptem and AI can help us to achieve that. The features allow our development coaches to continue to do what they love and coach learners rather than the admin burden that comes with apprenticeship compliance. We're very grateful to be a part of all trials, as it gives BMS the opportunity to learn early on as much as we can about the new features. We get to have our say and provide feedback to Aptem on how they can develop features further to benefit not only BMS Progress but all providers. In all of the trials that we've been part of, we have always felt supported and listened to, and that our ideas help these features to become what they are. The two trials that we have been part of so far consisted of meetings with Aptem and their product team and our own internal working teams to firstly understand how both of the new features would work, what Aptem would require from us, and how we could achieve the most success. I think by involving our development coaches into the working team, they were able to receive hands-on knowledge and give direct feedback to Aptem from both themselves and their learners, which resulted in better improvements being made to the features throughout the trials. The first beta trial that we were involved in was Checkpoint. We were in this trial between July and October 24, and we had decided to only use a select number of learners across 3 of our biggest standards. We chose this as we wanted to include learners at different stages of their programme and felt that it would give us the best view on how Checkpoint would be used from onboarding through to Gateway. During the trial, there were 167 checkpoints created, which consisted of 1,711 theory questions and 798 scenario-based questions. The addition of scenario questions really helped coaches to position this in a better way to their learners. During conversations with Aptem, we highlighted areas of reporting on checkpoints across coaches and learners, which was actioned by them and quickly made available to us. Checkpoint, when used effectively, enables our coaches to better understand areas where learners are struggling so that they can tailor their coaching sessions and individualise learning plans further. And it's been a great tool to prepare learners for endpoint assessment. The second beta trial that we were a part of was Virtual Assistant. This trial took place between July and September 24, where we took a similar approach to Checkpoint and selected only 2 of our standards. Our goal for Virtual Assistant was to reduce the coach's time answering those smaller questions and allowing learners to be able to continue with their work and complete assignments at a quicker rate rather than waiting for their coach's availability. Since enabling Virtual Assistant on all programmes, there have been 629 conversations, with 68.75% of those resulting in a thumbs up option. Overall, Virtual Assistant has been a great way to reinforce learners' confidence in a topic, and it's helped to challenge them to think about the criteria in different ways. The recent update of Virtual Assistant and Checkpoint working together will see an improvement in the progress, as it will challenge those learners further and help to develop that knowledge. We are early on in the Marking Aid and Feedback Assistant trial. However, we're anticipating that it will result in a reduction in the development coaches' time that they're spending marking, and as a result we'll be able to continue being expert and focus on their invaluable coaching sessions with learners. For this trial, we changed our approach slightly, and we're going to include all learners enrolled on our 3 main standards. The reason for this is that results from our checkpoint and virtual assistant trials, we noticed a much greater impact once this had been released to all learners on the same programmes. And I think that as this will result in such a big change in process as well as our curriculums, it makes sense to allow everyone to experience it and give our coaches the opportunity to really make it work for us. We understand that marking aid or the trial will require a great deal of work up front. However, it will be worthwhile in the long run, with a reduction in the coaches' marking time and enhancing the quality of their feedback given. Over the last 6 years, as I said earlier, Aptem have been a great support, and it's felt like such a great partnership between us. For me personally, Aptem has become my own area of expertise, and that's all thanks to their amazing team and the time that I've been lucky enough to spend with them. So I'd like to finish by thanking Aptem for giving me this opportunity and inviting me here today.
Great. Thank you, Emily. It's really great to hear your experiences, and also it's been a pleasure working so closely with you and your team on these trials. It's really great to see the impact that those features are having and could have in the future, and how we've made them work for your needs. So yeah, thank you very much for being part of those and collaborating closely and joining us today. That leads us on to the product launch part of this webinar, focused around our upcoming feature of review summarization, which Freya is going to talk through now.
Thanks, Paige, and thanks, Emily. It's been really nice to hear your insights into being an early adopter, and I think as part of the product team, we always want to hear like the impact these things are having. So it's really nice to hear that, you know, it's all gone really well for you, and that when you've requested changes, like we've acted on it. Like that's like our bread and butter. That's what we really want to be able to do. So hopefully the participants on the webinar can see that too, and see how they could maybe be involved, as you guys have been in future as well. Just a quick intro for those that don't know me. My name's Freya. I've been with Aptem for about 3 years now, and I started off in the implementation team. Now I work in the product team, and I look after the team that look after reviews in Aptem, amongst other things. And then prior to this, I worked in the apprenticeship sector within ITPs and in HE as well. So kind of seen it from both sides, and hopefully you guys keep my knowledge up to date in terms of what's going on in the industry since I've been with Aptem. So I'm here today to share a feature exploration of our newest of the Enhance initiatives, which is review summarization. It's a heavily anticipated feature. I'm really excited to be here to share with you like our development journey so far and what we have coming up, including our anticipated timelines. It's also a good time to mention that review summarization forms part of a broader initiative to improve our already competitive reviews offering, to strengthen this area of the system even further, and a set of features that we're calling enhanced reviews. So enhanced reviews collectively aim to improve the review process and experience by streamlining tutor admin and capitalizing on those areas of efficiencies within the review process and increasing that in learner and employer engagement within reviews. So we're looking into other features that can sit alongside review summarization, such as an updated smart action planning tool, feed in that streamlined process and allow tutors to spend more time with their learners, assessing progress, supporting development, and doing all those important things that they love to do rather than being burdened by the admin, as Emily had mentioned as well. We will hold a webinar at the end of March to talk through our roadmap in more detail. So if you are interested in enhanced reviews as a whole, do make sure you sign up to that one as well. All that to say though, we are super excited about review summarization, and we want to invite you to join us on the development journey to help shape our enhanced reviews offering as well. So first, let's talk about reviews and why we care about them so much. We're going to focus specifically on progress reviews in this bit of the webinar, but we know our reviews feature in general is used for so much more than just a progress review. We know that eligibility reviews, gateway reviews, additional learning support reviews are all used within Aptem as well, and they can all benefit from review summarization. So whilst we'll focus on progress reviews, we expect and we hope the impact to be widespread across all of your reviews. Progress reviews, as we know, are a requirement of the funding rules, but because of that, they can sometimes feel like, we're doing them just to fulfill that funding rule requirement. And I know when I worked in industry, that's how I would sell the concept of reviews to people who were doing them. You know, we weren't necessarily used to doing reviews in HM. It was kind of a new thing. So we would kind of say, it's something we have to do, whether we like it or not, and, you know, get on with it. My approach that I took when I was in industry, and I don't think it was an uncommon approach, but it did fail to recognise the potential of reviews. Like, we're not just doing them to fulfil a requirement. They're actually really useful, and they're useful to tutors, learners, employers, and even the provider and you as a business as well. So the potential of a good review can propel the learner to success, either by helping the learner with things they're struggling on, or stretching and challenging the learner to achieve more, either in their job or in their studying. It's a really nice way to celebrate the achievement for learners as well. So if they've implemented a new process at work, or had a promotion which has been supported by the learning undertaken on their apprenticeship, progress review is a really nice place that's dedicated to celebrating that success that you might not normally get just kind of in the normal workplace. Similarly though, taking on apprenticeship can feel like a lot of extra work and stress for a learner as well. So there is a lot that goes into an apprenticeship, and it's a lot to undertake from a learner's perspective when they're already, you know, doing a lot of work. And the progress review should be seen as a place where a learner can discuss all of this, implement strategies to support themselves, identify issues early on, which then empowers the tutor and the employer to resolve these issues in a timely manner, and all that then helps support apprenticeship completion as well. So whether things are going well, or if the apprentice is struggling and maybe needs a bit of extra help, you can use the progress review to set well-defined objectives to support their needs and keep the apprentices on track. And last but not least, although I'm sure I've barely scratched the surface of kind of the potentials of a good review, but it's an opportunity to align the learner, employer, and the tutor as the three most important people involved in an apprenticeship, and ensure what the learner is doing in their apprenticeship is reflected in their work. If there are any discrepancies, this can be addressed within the review as well. So I'm sure apprentices may come across things that they're doing in the workplace which are implemented in a slightly different way to what they've learned in their apprenticeship. And the progress review kind of offers that perfect time to discuss the differences, talk about the interpretation of theories or processes. It helps the apprentice to adapt to what they're learning to their specific circumstances. Of course, not every workplace is the same. So it's really important that the apprentices have that time to rationalize what they're learning with their employer and their tutor, kind of adapt it to what they're doing in the workplace as well. So what's wrong with reviews? If we just go to the next slide. Oh, you've already done it. Thanks, Paige. So our research tells us that reviews do create a really heavy admin burden that's really time consuming for our tutors. Customers told us they can spend up to 5 hours to prepare for a review, complete the review, and write up notes, all for just one review. So you extrapolate that over a caseload of, 30, 40, 50 learners, and the problem just becomes quite large. And this leads to the review feeling like a tick box exercise that's just required to fill in that form for the ESFA, because everyone's kind of rushing just to get it done because it's so time consuming. The learner then disengages and doesn't feel like it's a place that they can go to get support, or maybe, help them out with their well-being. And then the employer might just say, oh, that's not worth my time to attend, so I'm not going to attend that one. You get lack of engagement, lack of attendance, and it all just starts to feel like a bit of a burden rather than something that's actually useful. We also heard from customers that good reviews are happening, but the documentation tells a different story. So if a quality team comes in and observes a review, the review's really excellent, really learner-centric, driving progress forward, but the forms would look pretty sparse because they haven't had time to complete all of the notes, and it doesn't accurately indicate the impact that these reviews are having. So then if an Ofsted inspector comes to just look at the forms, it wouldn't be obvious that the reviews are contributing to progression and achievement in the curriculum. It doesn't deliver on that all-important impact that Ofsted are looking out for either. So a good progress review can be really impactful. It can make learners and employers more engaged. It can support early intervention of issues and ensure actions are completed on time. All this can support reduced withdrawals or reduced number of learners going past their planned end date, which obviously can have a significant impact on your business. It's not to say that a good review can kind of solve all of the problems. Of course, we know there's other things that are at play there as well, but it can really go a long way to trying to plug some of these gaps and address some of these issues. And if we just focus on it as a tick box exercise, we don't get that wraparound quality of the review that we really want and that can support our apprentices to achieve. Okay, so why do we care at Aptem and what are we going to do about it? So good reviews ultimately come from good tutors. So we know we can't replace that, but we want to make it as easy as possible to complete as many good reviews as we can. So with review summarization, we aim to remove the distraction of note taking, resulting in more meaningful conversations for all parties. We want to shorten that feedback loop for action points with streamlined review processes, drive accurate record keeping without having that engagement trade-off as well. And we're going to look at a prototype in just a moment, but just to reiterate what you have heard here today, as with all kind of big feature development at Aptem, we intend to release this iteratively. Firstly, so that we can get the value out to you as soon as possible, but more importantly, so that you can impact and shape the future of this feature. So like Emily said, like we want to work with you so you guys can actually have that impact and you can see things that you have requested being delivered then in the product. We're going to talk through a minimum viable product and a minimum lovable product. So a minimum viable product, or MVP, is what we've estimated will be the smallest iteration of this feature that will provide value to you. But we have, although our assumptions are based on research, it is still an assumption. It's not an exact science, and we need you guys to tell us whether it does meet your needs. So you're the experts and we want you to be involved in telling us what's good, what's bad, what needs to be improved, and just all that kind of additional feedback that we can only really get from you guys. It's hard to overstate the value of customer trials. So only recently I was talking with Emily and a colleague at BMS Progress about something completely different, but we got onto the topic of review summarization and they mentioned something from a quality perspective that hadn't been considered before. So their insight is so valuable that we can now take that away and say, okay, so this is another problem that we've discovered. How can we solve this problem and make sure we're hitting all of those crucial points rather than just implementing what we've assumed and then not actually solving the problem for you guys as well. So we've got the MVP and we also have what we call our minimum lovable product, or MLP. And again, that's what we think based on our research will make this feature really sing. So we want it to be something that fits into your processes and has the intended impact of saving time, encouraging meaningful conversations and enabling tutors to facilitate the all important good review. But we don't know for sure that what we've assumed will be, the lovable product by you. We want you to tell us that you love it rather than just to assume. Okay, so I think Paige is going to share the prototype for us now. So we're just going to take a look at that. Perfect. So if we just open the meeting summary box, our research told us that recording and transcribing conversations is a really good way to remove that tick box feeling that can come with reviews. If you know a call is being transcribed, you can have more meaningful conversations that are kind of guided by the template rather than bound to the template. You can focus on what the learner and employer are telling you and kind of digging in a little bit more into those individual topics rather than just reading the question and filling in the boxes. So what we have done with this section is we've got our meeting notes and transcript section, and we already have the ability in Aptem to upload meeting notes to this box. From the March release, we're going to have this, what you can see on screen now, which is the Get Transcript button. That's for our customers who have communications connector enabled with Microsoft Teams. So as you can see, you click Get Transcript, and then it brings back a transcript from Microsoft Teams, providing you've had the meeting set up within Aptem previously. You can also attach files here as well. So if you wanted to upload a file, or if you don't have the communications connector, you can hit attach file, choose the file, and that will attach these there. And then that will hopefully take out that kind of, oh, I've got to type in all my notes, I've got to make sure I'm constantly looking at my screen. So you can have those meaningful conversations, bring those transcripts back, and then what we'll do with the summarize feature is that summarize button then becomes available. We use AI to generate a summary, and then that will be displayed with themes, so you can kind of pick out the most key points and then also action points as well, so that you can kind of take that away. That box will then be editable, so you could add something if you wanted to add an action point that was not discussed within the transcript, or the transcript was paused and you wanted to add something in there, you can do. And that will be our minimum viable product. So you'll first choose between the files that you want to summarize. So if you have 2 files, it'll ask you to choose one of them which you want to base your summary on, and then going forward for the minimum lovable product, you'll be able to summarize all the files that exist within that section. The next phase of this is the minimum lovable product. So that's going to be where we display the summary from the last review in the current review. We hope this will reduce tutor admin, again, by removing the need to go back into the previous review to catch up on where the learner was last time. It's something we hear time and time again, that we don't want to have to go back to the last review to find out what's happened. You know, tutors have a lot of learners in their caseload, and if they haven't seen them for 3 months, that's going to be a really impossible task to remember where that learner's at. So we need a quick way to go back in, see what happened last time, and produce that summary in the next review as well. And then you can see that summary, have your meeting, go back into the meeting summary for the current review, get your transcript or attach a file again. So kind of go through that process again, and then hit the summarize button, which will create a new summary that will be translated through to the next review, and so on and so on. So hopefully just streamlining that process and making it all a bit easier for our tutors. Now, obviously, this is what we've assumed. So we've assumed that our minimum viable product is the meeting summary box with 1 file, and the minimum lovable product is bringing that review over to that summary over to the next review. We need you to tell us whether that's true or not. So we want you to tell us if our assumptions are correct, if it's valuable, if it's lovable. Obviously, there can be further enhancements once it's lovable as well. That's not the end of development, and we'll keep going with that. But yeah, it's really crucial for us to get your feedback on it so that we can actually make sure that we're developing to your needs rather than what we've assumed and what we've hoped to be the case. Okay, so let's head back to the slides, and we're going to talk about what we hope the impact of this feature will be.
Sorry, just getting the slide back.
It's all good.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so what we're hoping, our expected impact comes from the research that was undertaken in last year's Enhance consultation. But based on this data, we believe we can improve the quality and accuracy of review notes and support tutors who said they'd find this feature really helpful. We want to save tutors time, therefore reducing tutor workload and allowing them the time to do what they're good at and what's important, which is supporting that learner. And then we want to improve learner and employer engagement with reviews, supporting the progression of the learner through the apprenticeship and hopefully supporting timely achievement as well. So I'm sure you're wondering what our timelines are and when we're going to deliver this feature. So as I mentioned, we're already underway with our development of the transcripts and meeting notes review section, and that's already available in Aptem now with the option to type or paste meeting notes or upload a file. And that's for everyone. So everyone on Aptem Apprentice has the ability to upload files there. If you are hoping to be a beta trialist for this feature, I would really encourage you to turn on that section. So you just turn on the section like any other review section in the reviews token on the appropriate review type, so your tutors can start getting used to uploading the files. If you have the communications connector with Teams, in the March release, you'll have that option with the Get Transcript, which will return the transcript directly from Teams, so making it even easier for you guys. And again, encourage you to get used to using that now so that you're ready to go into the summarization with all your transcripts kind of there already. People are already using that section and it's already set up. At the beginning of Q2, we expect to release our MVP to customers, so summarizing the transcript to the current review to our beta trialists. So we want to get that transcript in the current section, the summary in the current section of the current review and get feedback on that. So work with our beta trialists to develop, feedback driven development and make sure that we're taking on board what you guys are saying to then release our MLP, which is our minimum lovable product. Again, that currently stands at bringing that review summary over to the next review, plus a couple of additions like porting and getting that into the PDF, things like that. The scope of that is of course subject to change, because you guys might tell us that you actually want something different, and that's where we will adopt our roadmap and make sure that we're doing actually what you guys really want to see from this product. Hopefully that has been an exciting insight into kind of what we're doing at the moment. I'm going to hand back over to Paige for a second now, and I'm going to check out whether we've got any questions while going over to Paige.
Cool. Thank you very much. That is really exciting to see kind of further enhancements to such a key part of our system. As we wait for any questions to come in, please use the question panel if you have any. As we mentioned, if you're interested in kind of getting involved in these features, we are actively recruiting for beta trial customers, and that's for the next iteration of both Marking Aid and Feedback Assistant, as well as for review summarization. So in these trials, you'll work alongside us in the product team mainly and provide feedback to make sure that we deliver our kind of intended value with these features. It includes early access to the features before we go to what we call general availability, where it's available for all, and the opportunity to participate in things like surveys, interviews, potentially some focus groups to really help share your thoughts with us. These trials are likely to start in a few months' time, so once we have a list of interested customers, we will reach out to you personally with more details, potentially via your CSM if you're an existing customer. So please get involved. If you are an existing customer, you can go straight to your customer success manager. And if you're not currently a customer, you can use the QR code below to register your interest, and we'll get in touch. And that will be through potentially a demo. I'll leave that on the screen while we answer any questions that have been asked. So if you have anything you would like to ask, please put them in the chat, whether that's about a live enhanced features, Emily's experience, or the upcoming review summarization. Put them in the chat now. And I guess, Freya, do we have any?
Just one to get us started, probably mostly for you, Paige, maybe. Are these features more impactful when combined? Could learners and tutors use just one or two of the enhanced features, or are they best used kind of all together?
Cool. Good question to kick off. So I think what we've seen from kind of our involvement with customers so far is that there is a greater impact when they are adopting kind of multiple of these enhanced features into that learner and tutor journey. So that led us to like releasing the automatic connection between the virtual assistant and Checkpoint. We got feedback on that, and that's why we implemented that. We know how busy learners can be, and we really wanted to ensure that they kind of had those clear next steps after checking their knowledge through checkpoints, whether that be maybe like understanding where they went wrong or how they can stretch and challenge themselves. We want our technology to really integrate seamlessly into existing learner workflows and allow them to kind of take those next steps, kind of progress and achieve their full potential. We've seen that, I guess back to the question really, we've seen that those providers who adopt multiple features in that way in those workflows see a greater time saving and an increased quality across their learning delivery. It also gives that richer understanding of progress because it allows them to put into practice kind of early mitigation steps where needed, because you have got data across various kind of aspects of the system. So I think definitely if you're going to adopt them, adopting all of them will give you that kind of value multiplication, and you'll really see a greater impact. So yeah, highly recommend that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Emily, there's one here for you. How has Aptem enabled BMS Progress to engage learners and keep them on track and on program?
Well, we originally chose Aptem because it's got everything included in the one system. So covers every part of an apprenticeship, onboarding, funding, learning progression, gateway, etc. And I think the system is such a straightforward use for our learners. They know what they need to work on and when. And for the coaches, having the dashboard for each learner allows them to understand exactly what their learners need to focus on. And obviously with the enhanced features, they take it one step further in reinforcing that. I think because Aptem allows us to individualise learning plans for our learners and so much, they stay engaged because they know that they're getting the best support. They can see it with Aptem, and yeah, there's nothing hidden.
Good. It's nice to have that kind of end-to-end journey with Aptem that's so beneficial. So many features that you can take advantage of from the start right to the end. There's a couple of questions for me, so I'm just going to ask them to myself. Someone's asked if we can upload a transcript from elsewhere if we don't have the Teams integration with Aptem. Yes, you absolutely can. So that section that we showed will show an attach file button rather than the get transcript button. So obviously you would have to download that from whatever tool and then upload that then into the review form, and that section is called meeting notes and transcripts, and you just enable that within your review token in the template that you want it in, and that is available now. So go and check it out if you haven't done already. There's an article on the Help Center as well, which kind of describes that functionality. It's super straightforward and really, really valuable in my view anyway. And then there's also a question here, which I'll try and answer, but if I don't understand this question, just pop another question in. The question says, can you use the import function from Teams to import the AI notes if they have a Teams premium account? We just at the moment import the transcript, so that's going to be from the March release. We're going to bring the transcript over and do the summarization in Aptem. It keeps everything in one place, which as we know is like really important to our customers and to our learners, and to have everything in one place we believe is that like real value. So that's kind of the process that we see that working out. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. There's also one, will we receive the webinar recording? Yes, you absolutely will. We'll send that out after the webinar, so please do share it with your colleagues and anyone else who might be interested as well. Also another one for me, sorry. Can we still use our own review template? Yes, you can. So the way that we expect this section to work is like an addition to your review template. So you'll set that up again within the reviews token and turn that on in the review types that you wish to use this feature. The rest of your template can be whatever you want it to be. So you're still going to have that option to customize the rest of the template. We're hoping that it will be a time saver. So maybe that means that you could reduce your templates and have more of the questions as aids there rather than like boxes that people have to type in. But again, this is an assumption we've made, and we'd love to hear from you actually how it's working if you do become a beta trialist, how that works for you and how that kind of all feeds into your processes. Have you managed to shorten the template? Do you use the template in a different way? Like all of that kind of wraparound stuff about reviews in general is what we want to get out of the beta trial, and just any general feedback that you have about how that works. So yes, you can still use your own review template. This will be an addition to that. Just quickly looking through the other questions. There's some really nice feedback about review summarization being a great feature. Definitely interested in this for lots of our progress and planning reviews, which is really great to hear. So thank you for sending that in. Just looking through. We've got one question here. What differentiates Aptem from others who are releasing these kind of AI initiatives in the EdTech space? Do you want to take that one, Paige?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think at Aptem, we really strive to, as I mentioned, embed technology that gives that real value to our customers. That's why we work so closely through early adopter programs, beta trials, market research to gain that feedback. We're making sure that the solution we deliver fits the needs of as many customers as we can, and we really are priding ourselves on that. Our enhanced solutions always work with a human in the loop approach, whereby there's a sign off or there's involvement from those human experts that are already using the system, they are the experts in that role. We want to give those experts the time back and ensure that those admin heavy tasks are handled, allowing them to focus on the quality and that kind of contextualized piece and personalized support that they want to do and are there to do, and really give those learners the best shot at their potential. We also embed these features into our existing systems, so making sure that there's a one system solution where everything can be accessed and used together. And that really helps drive engagement, but provide a much richer kind of data context and data points for aspects like progress overall. So everything is in the same system. It's a kind of one-stop shop in that sense. As I mentioned, that kind of improves that engagement for learners and tutors because they aren't needing those multiple systems, multiple logins, those different things. And we find that really helps kind of use and adopt features across the system. And again, comes back to that combined value piece that they all link together, and it's how do we make the whole journey better, not just kind of excel in one part. So I think that's something that we at Aptem are always looking for. We're looking for that vision and that wider context piece, and that's why the feedback is so important.
Yeah, That's really true. There's another question about moving reviews to console. Are any plans on wider functionality within the reviews to support the quality of them? We're currently going through a kind of process of trying to figure out where else we can bring value to reviews as well. Like I mentioned, we've got the enhanced reviews and kind of just looking at it in general, because it is such a big area of our system, and we know it's something that we feel are already really competitive in that space, but there's so much with reviews that we know we can develop and improve. We're currently working on some smaller kind of features, just enhancements, like moving the review PDFs to console for previous programs. We know that's something we've heard a lot, and generally like updating those PDFs to kind of include more information in them as well. To keep your eyes on the release notes for those sorts of enhancements. More generally in reviews, we're going to kind of take on feedback as we go through this enhanced reviews process and see where we can make those time-saving benefits generally within the review space. So keep on giving us your feedback, and we love to hear it. And whether it's about enhanced reviews or reviews in general or the reviews token, the more feedback we get, the better. And the dream is to have like a constant stream of ideas coming through, which we do have. So yeah, just keep that coming and keep shouting about the ideas that you want. I'm just going to quickly look at the questions again. Someone's asked if the transcripts and meeting notes tab in a review is classed as mandatory or can be left blank if there is no transcript or notes to add. Yes, can be left blank. So you don't need to add anything. It's not like a one that you have to write not applicable in or anything like that. You can just leave that one blank, mark the section as complete like any of the other non-mandatory sections within reviews. So it doesn't have to be used on every single review. As well, there's a question here: is it anticipated this feature would increase the time it takes for reviews to save? Obviously, we'll do like performance testing on all of our kind of new features, so we hope not, and that's something that we'll definitely be testing out when we go through the development process. Something we always want to check up on. Are you considering being able to see reviews from onboarding programs still being visible when on delivery programs? Yes, we are. Well, I think I've hopefully understood this question correctly. We're trying to bring those PDFs across to console for previous onboarding programs as well, so that you'll be able to see the PDF of that review. Obviously, you won't be able to edit anything because the onboarding program's kind of gone. That review's already been completed, but we're hoping to bring over those PDF versions to console as well. Just having a quick look if there's any others. I think we might be at the end of the list of questions. Looks good. Yep. Over to you, Paige.
Cool. I guess to wrap today up, firstly, I just want to say thank you, Emily, for joining us today, being part of our trials over the last year or so. Again, I can't say it enough, but feedback is so valuable to us. So we really appreciate that and you taking your time to share your experience today. Thank you to Freya for launching review summarization and all the work the development team is doing there. I think you'll all agree it's a huge part of our system. I'm a little bit biased, but it's going to be a great feature. We hope you enjoyed hearing about how we'll continue towards that vision of combining both technology and human expertise, really enriching those learner experiences and driving that quality. We are holding a webinar at the end of March whereby we're going to go through our plans and discuss our roadmaps over the next year or so. So that will be in a lot more detail than we've discussed today, and that covers both Aptem Apprentice kind of standard features as well as the enhanced features. So look out for that one and be sure to sign up if you're interested in that. We really look forward to continuing to work closely with our customers and hope to see as many of you as possible on our beta trials. So thank you everyone for joining. If we've missed any questions, we'll get back to you individually and we'll share the recording shortly. So thank you very much for joining today. I hope you have a great rest of the day.